What's up? I'm back. In this segment, I'm going to talk about artificial environments. An artificial environment can be thought of as, let's say, a city. Perfect example. Most people in the industrial world today live in cities. Even people in the third world nations are getting more urbanized as we speak. And most of the time in cities, what you find is a lack of plant life and more metal. Now, it's an interesting concept because people are getting so disconnected from nature. Most people, I would act if I had to ask them, can they even take care of a plant? Most people can't even take care of a plant anymore. Will probably die in 2 weeks when most people handle it. Let's say if you said adopt a plant, let's see how long it could last. Probably last 2 weeks. The problem with the artificial environment is that you are disconnected from nature, and the key is, and I don't really want to get into politics. I don't do it in this channel. If you want politics, go to my other channel for that. But to be honest, the problem is the powers that be kind of want you in artificial environments because you got to understand artificial environments. Even if you think that you're in tune with nature, you got to understand this. This is a big thing. Excess metal affects your chi. Too much metals affect your chi. So when a lot of people can't even lucid dream and they live in the cities, that's the reason why. Even when you go to supermarkets and now you're getting fruits and vegetables from all over the place that you could eat strawberries year round. You don't even eat fruits and vegetables in season. That's a problem as well. Because in actuality, you were supposed to eat fruits or vegetables that was from your local area, and in a sense, that will connect you to the land itself. Even things like that are being lost. Even things like local communities. Even in the 30s and 40s when they were cities, ask any American who was alive. I don't know about Europe in the 30s and 40s, but I know in America. Ask any American in the 30s and 40s about that time period, and they'll tell you when you were if you were part of a neighborhood, the whole neighborhood played together, knew each other, or the kids would play together. Everybody knew each other. Now there's no local communities anymore, and even though in the cities it's crazy, in the city everything is crunched in. A lot of people don't even know each other, or if they do, they don't care. And what happens is that not in the suburbs particularly, but if you go like to rural areas, especially like you go to places like Montana and these places, you could go like miles without seeing anybody, right? And if you do see people, you have to take care of each other because they may not even be law enforcement. So things like shooting, like things like bears and animals, you have to learn to defend yourself. You gotta learn to handle your gun. You might have to learn how to plant at times, right? Supermarket maybe long, maybe way down the road if you even have a supermarket. So then you gotta learn how to grow your own food. And in that sense, those type people are living more in tune with nature than regular folk is. And that's a concept a lot of people don't understand. For the most part, the city as we see it is an artificial environment. Even the fact that, let's keep it real, you're going to work, you come home and sleep, you're probably going to eat fast food. The whole thing is artificial. You don't really forget about local community. You probably won't even really even care about your spouse after that point because you probably seen your spouse, you know, 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours to work, maybe 4 to 5 hours a day on the weekdays. And these days the economy is so bad, you probably have a second job. You may not even be doing that. The thing is, our whole lifestyle is artificial. And I don't want to sit there and attack metals because, in essence, metals are not really bad. It's only bad if you use it the way people are using it now. Many people are not really in tune with the environment. So metal is actually not bad if you know how to give it life. And that's a whole subject for another time. I'm gonna probably make an alchemic video about that. How in ancient times they had metals, but the metals they were able to charge the metals with life, with energy. When they were able to do that, the metals came alive. And in a sense, when you're around excessive metals, that metal wouldn't drain you. So, for instance, in ancient times, when we even ate a fruit or vegetable, we eat it with our hands. There was a bond between the fruit and vegetable. Now we take a metal fork and hit the fruit or vegetable. And that's if we're eating something alive. Most of us are eating some chicken, right? And what happens? The metal drains the life force. We eat it, we don't form that bond. And that's different. That's why the Chinese had chopsticks, because chopsticks were still made of wood, still alive. Little things like that affect you, believe it or not. And artificial environments is that when you're living in it, you don't even know it's bad because that's all you know. You don't you don't think it's natural that you can't defend yourself. In the ancient times, every male was able to defend themselves. So when you're living in a rural environment and you might have to have a gun to shoot bears, that's part of life. But you also learn to defend yourself. That's part of your manhood. Now I'm not getting into this macho patriarchal stuff. But I'm just being real. Many people now can't even defend themselves anymore because they wait for the cops to do it. And that's what city life is. What a lot of people don't really realize is city life is actually really kind of constructed to keep you entrapped. Because eventually, when time comes, they'll be able to control you more if you live in the city. That's why you have a whole bunch of people crunched in one area, and they don't even care about them each other. Where in the rural areas, either you don't have anybody for miles away, or if you do have people around you, the community takes care of each other. That's a totally different mindset that some people from rural areas will know what I'm talking about if they watch this video. So when it comes to artificial environments and city life, I know the suburbs, and I don't even talk about the suburbs. I know the rural areas. You guys may think you're more advanced than them, but when the time comes, you're gonna see that in the world that's coming in, it's important to be able to grow your own food. It's important to know your neighbor. That's all part of healing. And if you are in the city, and some of us have no choice, then I would suggest work on bonding with nature more. Work on bonding with your neighbor more, because you will need each other when the time comes. And that's all in the process of healing. And if we're the same in the planet, we're all part of the same collective consciousness. Cells in your hand have a better relationship than cells in your hair. It doesn't mean that you're not part of the same body, but you gotta know the hand before you know the hair. You gotta know the neighbor before you talk about your collective consciousness for the whole world. And a lot of people talk about that collective consciousness for the whole world, and then they don't even know their own neighbor. And the death of local communities is why the world is sick right now. So as healers, we gotta stress that. Till next time, peace.